All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Dr. Stone, Season 2, Episode 9. Tsukasa and Hyoga have showed up.
They're here.
Oh, boy.
Here. Kohaku is leading what warriors they have
in a desperate
to just
defense.
Hold off
Yep.
these two monsters. But the thing is that Tsukasa and Hyoga are already not necessarily alone. The others that are a part of their crew that had been captured or at the very least demoralized are probably going to be revitalized.
Yeah, and the ones that were following them as a result of, the lie, well, Gen has been outed,
yep.
so
they're up in the air.
They're up in the air. Now, maybe they'll side with them still, because it's like, we already betrayed Tsukasa, better just try and stick it to the end. But also, Ukyo is out for the count. So the one major, asset other than Kohaku in that Archer... in a stone world, that would be pretty awesome, except, oh, nope, he's down. So.
Yeah, but Nikki.
Yeah, Nikki is
grapple
pretty
the
badass.
Shit out of, one of them.
Yeah, I would love to see Nikki just, get
Hyoga,
yes, thank you.
In an armbar.
In an armbar. That would be awesome.
That would be so legit.
Yep. But, Chrome, Senku, good luck.
Yeah. So y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. Cool. All right,
okay.
So Tsukasa, backstory. We get the exact specific details as to what he did, why he did it, and while this was a callback to something that we had, for the most part, I think, kind of forgotten about, in episode 2, this is a really cool, emotional way to get into it in a, omniscient perspective as well. Because what we assumed, for the most part, was that he was doing this for his little sister.
Right.
But there's the aspect of where, okay, that's a cool motive, but still murder,
Right, exactly. And in a lot of ways, with the explanation that he gave, that's more of an explanation for the positive things he did of reviving specific people and things like that.
Exactly.
Not for breaking stone statues, because you don't actually need to do that in order to have a society.
Exactly.
You choose not to revive them until way later.
You just choose not to revive those people.
So it's, whatever. But what I love about it is that the whole thing with the sister is something where that was set up from the beginning. Now, what it seemed to be setting up, and for the most part, what it was setting up is this is why Tsukasa has the chip on his shoulder, right? This is why he's actually going around and breaking those stone statues,
because a personal, specific story.
Exactly, something that went deep. Yeah.
Someone abused their power on someone far weaker than them. It wasn't even him, and took away basically the little bits of freedom and expression that his sister had in that moment, and it kind of reminded him about the way in which people who are old and kind of set in their ways and stuff and abuse that power towards the younger ones. And it makes a great antagonist for a, kind of a shonen where you have all the characters being teenagers and stuff.
Yes.
And Senku having the desire to restore humanity, there is an aspect of that in where this humanity will have an appreciation for the beauty of this stuff. But Tsukasa's right, or has always been right, in that humanity has equally, capable...
Done some shitty things.
Capacity for really shitty things and stuff.
Right.
But, you can't actually stop that either way, Tsukasa. You'll eventually die.
Right. If you kill everyone that that exists, then there will be no more propensity for doing bad things.
Right, but that's the thing. But even then, it's
you're doing something much worse in order to keep
Well, no. Even if he changes the culture of humanity by basing it around his ideology,
sure, that stuff will still happen.
That stuff will still happen. But not only that, you can't actually go to the entire world and break all 7 billion. There will be people that wake up that will.
And even if you did, then what? The human race is gone. Good job.
Right. But it's the thing of where his motivations are ones that are emotionally founded, so he knows what he's doing is wrong.
Yeah.
And that's
but he's still going to do it. Yeah.
Right. And that's a cool re-emphasis of something with regards to his character, is that he's not in a denial kind of aspect of what he's doing.
Right.
Yeah, he's aware of all of it.
Yeah.
But he's essentially one that has weighed and measured the cost and the benefit associated with it from his perspective.
Yep.
And then also he brings up the idea of, but if anyone was put into this position to play God, where they had the power to revive humanity from this stone world, wouldn't you start to pick and choose who got that privilege?
Right. And
it's like, oh, that's very true.
Yep, that's a great
That's
point.
a great point.
And that would definitely mess with your head when
Very
all of a sudden
much.
then you kind of have to reduce people down to values, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to break
Still
the
doesn't mean you
statues,
have to break the
but,
statues, though.
Yeah, so that's, if anything, where I would say there might be a little bit of a denial, is that he kind of associates the two together, so that way, like, the one excuses the second. But
well, yeah, I think the main point with it is that he doesn't deny that what he was doing with breaking them was essentially murder, but the choosing of who to revive in some ways was also murder as well, because you were essentially saying, well, if we don't revive them, they'll just sit there forever.
right, but yeah,
I have
I
the
would.
capacity to save everyone. Should I just,
Well, I mean, yeah,
revive
there's
everyone?
people have limits. If oh darn, you can't snap your fingers and revive all of humanity. But I don't think that's what I'm saying.
I was meaning that from the societal standpoint, if Senku went and revived every single person, it would quickly spiral out of control to where there would be too many people to manage properly, and then you would get factions,
Right.
new groups,
Yep.
and then they would have conflicts with each
Right.
other.
So him in
a year,
and
easily.
Hell, him picking the people that
Maybe
are
less.
most likely to survive in a stone world. That's a kindness to all the other people that wouldn't survive. Yeah, let them sleep a bit
But if you
longer.
have science,
But if you have science, right,
you don't
then
need to worry about that.
You don't need to worry about it. But what I really loved about how they handled that, though, is not the thing of the negative thing of how he went and then, decided he wanted to break the statues and things like that. But it's the fact that the thing that was that the solution was concealed within the negative, right? When we gave the sister at the beginning, I thought that was just an explanation for why then he has this deep chip on his shoulder and then he goes about on his cleansing humanity spree, right?
Right.
I didn't think that the sister would actually be the way that he ended up getting reached, because the idea of, when the petrification is removed, that it does give some regenerative properties, like they can glue back the statues and have it work. Senku's broken neck was able to be healed as a result of the fact that, there was still that bit of like petrification there.
Yeah.
So, even
So there's hope.
Right, so there's hope. And even if it doesn't work. Even if it doesn't work. Well, actually, no. If it doesn't work, that could be a big problem, because then the gamble results in Mirai potentially dying because they wouldn't have the facilities to be able to take care of her while she's brain dead.
Or what it does is it restores her, but not fully. And then it's the thing of Tsukasa. I can do the rest.
Sure.
With science. Like, say it wakes her up. And yet she's like, she can't speak. She's like really helpless.
Yeah.
She like doesn't have like really good like, critical thinking functions and stuff like that.
Well, at the very least, she hasn't progressed developmentally since she went into the coma. So,
But what might be the reason why the healing part of it is crazy is because of how long they've been in it. Not necessarily that it's going to do much at the moment when the stuff gets brought into it, but it's that what they're reviving is something that has been brought into this place of stasis. Like Senku was conscious. His brain was active the whole time, and it didn't age him in any way. Like he was able to have the counting, so he knew how long it would be. So I could see this being a thing where what's happening in the stone part of it is so crazy, and this might be a leap here, but what this whole mini quest of maybe saving Tsukasa's soul here is something that is setting up the longevity of this series with regards to what is actually happening when someone is petrified, not when someone gets revived, but when someone is petrified, and if they were essentially brain dead before this, you just maybe found a secret to immortality. Like, is the stone petrification thing actually not a curse towards humanity as a whole, but something that can be understood at a
because
I don't know, man.
Okay, so if the thing with Tsukasa's sister doesn't work, then Tsukasa will have to decide what he's going to do there.
Right.
But the fact that Senku was like, hey, here's our best shot. This might help. That could be enough to sway him in some way.
Sure.
Even if it does work well, though, Hyoga is still an issue from the standpoint of
he was greedy once he saw those weapons. He's like, I
can use that.
I want that.
Right. So that's a specific conflict obstacle to overcome. Once that's done, though, all the conflicts that we know of in the immediate sphere of these characters are kind of resolved, with the exception then of figuring out what happened.
Yes.
Now, that doesn't need to be what they move on to next, right? There would be all sorts of struggles and things, and we can watch them invent stuff and whatnot.
There's also the people that left Kohaku's village a long time ago that are out there somewhere.
Yes, they could find another civilization, village, etc. Right? But at that point, the story would be pretty smooth sailing, it would seem, right? Like, if Tsukasa was able to be made a permanent ally, like if his sister was saved, because I think
that's why I think Hyoga is being set up as the new enemy,
right?
And it's that Tsukasa will be neither. He will not be ally nor enemy. He will be devoted to his sister,
right,
and protecting her and making sure that she's okay. And this would be a really smart way, I would say, to emotionally get us to reconnect with Tsukasa, is have him take care of someone and protect them and show his strength as not something that is a force for violence, but as a deterrent against anything that would harm his sister.
And that might also be the way to get him more invested in science, because if his sister is revived, she is not physically she is not the kind of person that Tsukasa would have revived from the standpoint of they'll do well in this stone world on their own kind of a thing.
Totally, but he's strong enough for two people.
She
doesn't need to be like that. I think that's his point, is that his strength is such that he gained it specifically so that she wouldn't need to be strong.
Definitely. Yeah. Absolutely. And yet I could see there being something where he's like, well, you know what, but science does kind of benefit her, like... So
he basically says, Senku,
right,
I will no longer attack you if you devote all of your science to making her life wonderful.
Well, yeah, like, I mean, if she just, like, I could see
counterintuitive, though, to the fact that Senku is going to eventually revert the whole world.
Right, but, that will take...
time.
Realistically, that will take more time than they have lifespan.
That's very true.
So
exactly.
It's a thing where they'll set it up and get it going. But if she's able to have a good life, maybe in the kingdom of science, and because
that's a reach, but I really like it. It's my own theory. I would say it's a reach thinking about it.
Because if Tsukasa is truly won over, right, then his talents, there's no reason why his talents couldn't be used in conjunction with science, right? The main reason why he was against Senku
construction boy.
Right, exactly. Because
big things.
Because he originally thought that Senku was opposed to him because of the whole thing of, okay, my sister, I need to, and all the past hurt and stuff that happened. I can't trust the old ways of doing things, right? So you have to go. Right?
Well, I disagree on that front.
Okay.
I think it's not personal. I don't think he thinks that Senku is someone that he doesn't trust with his sister being saved or anything like that.
He totally trusts him. He gave his word and that was enough.
Yeah, exactly. What I think the main point here is that Senku is someone who, from his perspective, doesn't realize what he's doing.
Right.
Or doesn't realize what he's missing out on if he doesn't bring all of science back and thus revive the whole world.
Sure.
He could probably provide a decent enough argument to Senku of like, well, once you have, your life gone, like once you die, like people
who takes after you?
Yeah, people aren't going to worship you as a god. Chrome is not going to live forever. Like you're not going to have some like.
You could set up a school for new science users, but know.
Do you understand history? Like how this works is probably in a couple hundred years at most. At most, things will change people.
You better start making some books, you know,
Some
with
memories,
like,
yeah,
exactly. You know, records for the future,
Right, because ultimately then the things that you create as weapons here will then end up being used by those that are greedy or desire power control to dominate.
And we're going to have a great example of that with Hyoga.
Hyoga is also like very well being set up because he has no emotional attachment or connection to any of the characters we've seen thus far.
Yes, and we don't really have an emotional attachment to him. And he seems clever enough that he doesn't have to become a serious problem right now.
Nope.
He could very easily just be someone that's biding their time, and then later, because he doesn't want to fight Tsukasa either, right? Hell, although if he did use weapons of science to like brutally murder Tsukasa
or hurt him,
right? That would,
and then Senku has to save his life.
Sure, like any number of things that could happen.
That could be
then,
really good.
Because if Tsukasa is removed from the picture, then I could see Hyoga definitely like making his move. Like,
and we did just get sudden backstory of a side character.
Oh damn! Oh shit! We revive his sister, and then Tsukasa gets like blown up with nitroglycerin, you know, from Hyoga
spear,
right? That's hucked from a million miles away or something. And
I don't think he would do that though.
Yeah.
Tsukasa is too useful. I think the only reason he would do that is if Tsukasa was actually going to join Senku.
Sure.
And end the whole fight.
Right.
Because we don't know Hyoga's full motivations.
Yes. So we can't truly know what he's going to do. Like,
and thus I don't think it would make sense for him to do something without us having a little bit of understanding.
I got a sense of power hungry when he saw the weapon, but
but maybe have a little bit of stuff after the sister is revived. Depending on whatever state she's in, she's going to need a moment alone with Tsukasa, and they're going to have a nice, sweet, tender moment. I would love to have that be interrupted, though, with a kind of a Hyoga thing of like, so, what are we going to do?
Yeah,
and he's like, I don't want to deal with that right now. We'll talk about that later.
Right.
I have to focus on her.
And then suddenly Hyoga could be feeling like, oh, my boss's priorities just changed because of this girl, right? You know, everything was ruined because of Senku or because of this girl or,
Yeah. So I could very easily see his big thing being not that he goes against Tsukasa immediately, but that he grabs some of the revival fluid and he starts making his own group.
Maybe.
And he just leaves. And he just takes a number of people with him.
Possibly. Yeah.
So I'm really excited about this development because this is something that was properly foreshadowed. It was slightly forgotten on my part, and I feel kind of bad about that because I knew immediately that we had gotten a good detail of stuff on this in a previous episode. So I was like, oh, this was episode 2, right? When they were on the beach.
Right.
But I didn't remember the details about the fact that, well, she was in surgery. All I remembered was that there was a girl who had the seashells foraging from the beach taken away from her because the guy said that she was stealing them.
Well, no, it was Tsukasa that was on the beach getting the seashells.
No,
okay.
I know.
Oh,
he was talking about how his sister
Gotcha.
went to a beach and was wanting to take seashells from there, but it was Tsukasa that did that?
Yep.
Oh, okay, my bad. So, yeah, whatever. The point was he was doing it for his sister.
Right.
And thus he got the chip on his shoulder, but it was more than that. He was doing this because his sister was in surgery, and she probably would have come to this place to search for seashells.
Sure.
And she wouldn't have been able to because this guy would have abused his power in some way.
Right. It's the frustration and stuff because he sees the injustices of the people that, well, are stronger,
Right. And for all his strength, he can't actually help his sister.
Right.
So there's got to be some real rationalization in his mind about why he sees. Well, no, I think it's just because all the people of science, they tried. He waited for years.
Yeah.
That makes so much more sense. Can I just add this onto the whole thing of Tsukasa's character? I didn't even realize this. It's so dumb that I didn't realize this. But all the people of science were doing everything they could to save his sister, and it just wasn't enough.
Yep.
And it wasn't some 6-month period of time. It was from when he was a child to a grown-ass, teenage...
Strongest primate, high school primate.
From 7 to 17,
Yep.
And he watched for a decade. And I will attach also this as well as a subtle, just special thing that I think that anyone who has dealt with someone who is chronically ill or just chronically unwell is that is traumatic.
Yeah.
And that is something that I think needs to be added in or understood, is that Tsukasa has experienced a decade's worth of trauma with
Yeah.
the idea that his sister is alive, but also
Not alive.
incapable of speaking with him, interacting with him,
Even
feeling
thinking. Yeah.
any of his love or affection towards her. Nothing.
Yep.
And that will screw you up in the head, especially if it started when he was little.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not realize, even like in the minute of the episode, how big of a deal that was with regards to the fact that these are all the people of science who are like, no, we're what Senku is somewhat,
Right.
So all
But
those
with,
people
thousands
failed.
of years of advancements for,
Exactly.
society and civilization.
And equipment and all that.
Yeah.
So they are the living personification of Senku,
Right.
and the people that failed your sister.
Right. It makes perfect sense why there's no reason that Senku would be able to go further than those doctors did.
Maybe.
But thankfully, this isn't about Senku. This is about some new thing that we don't understand.
Exactly.
And hey, science is, testing things out. Let's see if this shit works.
It might. So, yeah, anything else you want to say? Because I really, really am excited for this next episode.
I loved how they took the we only have a little bit of time. We need to somehow make something. It still very much felt Hail Mary, right? Because there were aspects of like when they were like, okay, we need to
nitroglycerin.
Yeah, making nitroglycerin. That was awesome because
like we quickly figured it out that was what they were trying to do.
Well,
but we still didn't know like how they would actually get away with it.
Exactly. And the fact that they weren't just planning on like making gunpowder or something like that, right? Like they really had to improvise in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that Senku was trying didn't work, and they kind of got lucky that there was some of that nitric acid or sulfuric acid left in the container, right? But that was something that was, set up from way back when, they had access to that stuff. So the fact that
the soap coming back.
Right. Yes. Exactly. That was wonderful. So it really felt like a natural thing to come about. Because yes, they're using science. So all of this stuff theoretically would work, right? But with all the things that had been sort of seeded beforehand and this new invention that they're like, okay, let's do it. Let's make nitroglycerin, right? And then using the freaking paper airplanes, like the fact that Gen was like, I got paper and stuff, I got flowers, like maybe we can do something with that. And then they did actually use that paper. That was vital because you have nitroglycerin, that's great, but what the hell are you gonna do with it? If how do you get it to the people? So that was a lot of fun.
Also, Hyoga's moment of being like, whoa, that weapon, where he like pulls down his mask.
Yep.
I think in the OP there's a moment where we see the gleeful smile.
Oh yeah, with him pulling down the mask. Yeah.
Of Hyoga pulling down the mask.
Yep.
And
nice. I like it.
That is a chilling look.
I don't know if we've ever even seen Hyoga's mouth, so I wasn't sure. Maybe we have, and I
this
forgot.
was in the OP.
Yeah, but I didn't know. I was like, okay.
I was like, huh?
And now we understand the importance of the paper airplane in the OP.
Yes,
Hell yeah.
That's right. The paper airplane have a stain on the front?
I don't think so. No.
No, it was not.
Yeah.
Wait, then this person right here
might be the sister.
Could this be the sister right here?
Maybe. Although I think it's more impressionistic because the figure was wearing clothes even though it was a statue, which would be kind of hard to do. But
oh well, shit. Okay. All right. Let's save Mirai. Yeah. So y'all.
And Mirai is future.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
So y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.